Hello friends, you're with the Lonesome Gamer, and I'm playing Charlemagne. Now, we are still in the first turn. It's 77-1 to 77-5. No, that's not true. 771 to 775. And until now we only played the tribal player's turn. So now we're gonna come to the other half of turn 1, which is gonna be the turn of the empire. And once again, we're simply gonna follow the sequence of play here, step by step, starting with the random events. So let's say the black die is the first one. Oops. Okay, that is 55. I'm pretty sure this is also a revolt. Yes, it is. Either the Emirat of Córdoba, Asturias, or Navarre. Well, actually we have to roll, maybe it's even all of them. So the Emirat of Córdoba, that would be a problem. If they revolt, they have a pretty powerful force and they could cause a lot of trouble here in the southern part of the Frankish Empire. And yeah, the revolt actually succeeds, so that will definitely make it interesting. Then we have Asturias, and this is also a success, but they are not very threatening. And Navarre, and there is no effect here. Actually, let me see if there are modifiers. No. Okay. So that means we're gonna place a marker here and another green marker here, and that means that the tribal player will now control these two areas. And one of these areas actually has a civilization marker. I might replace that with a white disc so that I don't forget that, because that will give the tribal player now an additional stratagem token. And by the way, I forgot something at the end of the last turn. This army here in Genoa, they are overstacked. A castle can only hold 3 units, that's the forage value, and there were 5 of these warrior arrays in there. So during the at the very end of the turn, during this provisioning phase here, we had to pay for these warrior arrays if we didn't want to lose them. So therefore we have here somewhere the treasury point chart, and that shows us the provision for each unit type. So we had to pay 2. We had to pay twice 2, 4 over again. So we are now at an overall treasure of 4 for the tribal player. Actually, I think now that we control this Emirat of Córdoba, our treasury will increase quite a bit, because there are, yeah, exactly, the Caliphate of Córdoba. the fact of the control over that gives us 3 additional points, and that is pretty awesome. So Charlemagne might be forced to maybe fight these guys first. And then we have also here this army in Lombardy. That's really not looking good for him. Threats here. The Vikings landed here. The Norse, they took Nantes. And of course we still have the Saxons hanging out here. And over here, this Slavonics raiders, which are plundering the castles in Alemannia. So we'll see. Tough situation. We come to the stratagem phase now. So you can draw one stratagem. That's the free one, basically. Let's see what that is. A missionary, okay. And then he can draw one for each civilization. So Aachen, and I think this is it. He only controls one of these civilization points. So yeah, he gets one additional, and that is a vassalage marker. Now, I mean, he could try to do a vassalage action against the Emirate of Cordoba, but it might be more promising to do it against Lombardy, because that is already Christian. So maybe that would help him to get rid of this threat here. Before he does that, he actually plays the espionage stratagem to check out the stratagems of the enemy. And yeah, there he sees now, holy cow, this guy has 3 vassalage stratagems. That's not a good thing. But yeah, I don't know if I should wait or if I should throw these 2 in. I'll probably do that. I'm going to do a vassalage attempt, spending 2 of them. Against Lombardy, and I guess the other guy throws in also 2, maybe 1. Let's check the vassalage table here. Might make sense to throw another one in. I'm gonna roll, and on a 1 to 5, I'm gonna throw in both. Okay, yeah, it's basically my most important area, so I don't want to lose that. Okay, so now this guy is at 0, so that means as long as he doesn't roll a 6, he's in trouble. Or basically nothing happens, so we'll see what happens. That's a 5, okay, there is simply no effect. Yeah, okay. Okay, well, actually that was bullshit. Because we have Empire making a vassalage attempt against a Christian region. And Lombardy is Christian. Now that changes things a lot, because now we have a vassalage differential of 1. And that means it was actually a success. If the region is currently neutral, If the character controlled by the enemy player, it becomes neutral. So that's what happens. Yeah, the region becomes neutral again. So this marker goes away. And that is pretty tough for the tribal player. But of course he can also try a vassalage attempt in the next turn. But yeah, that was pretty painful, especially because of this massive army that is now lost. Just check the rules, and now that this thing became neutral, all the units simply remain where they are, even though there is this this is beyond the forage value of the space. They still remain there. Actually, I wonder what happens with the leader. That's something I should check. I assume that the leader goes back in the pool, but I want to check that. The rules say leaders are treated exactly like any other combat units. So I assume the leader actually remains there as a neutral unit. Not sure how much I like that. But okay. That makes things worse for the tribal player because he just lost his only leader. Okay, so that was the vassalage phase, and now we come to the treasury phase, and the empire player will get a lot of treasury. We have to count all these castles, except of course for the pillaged one here, Augsburg, and that one, Nantes, which is lost to the Vikings. I have purchased 2 civilization markers. In Paris I placed one, and one here in Limoges. They will allow me to gain more stratagem markers and an additional victory point as long as I control them. Then I hired 2 armies for $4 each, one here in Aquitania and another one up here in Verdun. And in addition, I hired a special unit. This is an elite army, the Skara, and yeah, they're sitting here. I mean, basically their values are not better than the others, but thematically it was some kind of elite army, and so that gives you the, you can simply hire them anywhere in your empire on a castle that you control, and this is just this single specific unit there. So that means I've paid $18. I want to keep a little bit for possible provisioning, especially if I have expensive units. I will need some money left here. And now we come to the Levi phase, and we're gonna get even more units. And by the way, I just want to point that out again. So if you hire units during the treasury phase, these are mercenaries, and you have to pay for them money, and basically you can hire every available unit. There is a list how much you have to pay for it, and you can place these guys in a castle that you control. But you can only place 1 unit per castle. That's the maximum. And during the Levi phase, it's a little different. You don't have to pay for the units. You get as much units as written here in these Levi table per area. You're not allowed to Levi armies, only the other type of units, and fleets also only with the Norse and one other area, I don't know exactly which one. And you can place these units anywhere on the map, but only, again, 1 per space. So here you are not restricted to castles. Okay, so here's my plan. First of all, with this militia, I want to move into Saxony and try a missionary attempt there. You need a unit in the area, which is different to a vassalage attempt. You can simply do that anywhere on the board, but for a missionary attempt you need a unit, well, your missionary in this area. So first we're going to roll, and that is just a 1. That's not a lot. These are just 7 operation points. Now I'm not sure that's even enough to do one of these missionary attempts. Let's see how expensive that is. That would a conversion attempt would cost me 4, so it might just be good enough. So if I move here, that's 1, that's 2 and 3. I can cross the river, move in here, and then I have just enough points to do a missionary attempt. And I'm going to throw in these 2 stratagem markers. And the other guy has nothing against that. Maybe Ragnarok. Let me see what that does. Can be used to double the value of 1 force of pagan or modify a conversion attempt against a pagan province by a negative of 1. Well, that's maybe an option. I might throw that in. Yeah, why not? Let's do that. I'm gonna roll, I guess, but yeah, I think I want to do it. On a 1 to 5, but it's an important province. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna do that. So this goes in, and that means that this guy only has a 1 on the conversion table now. Yeah, so he's here. On a 5 or 6 he will be successful. On a 1 there will be a reaction. Yeah, okay, let's see. Oh, cool. Okay, that's pretty good for the Saxon for the Empire player. So let's see. I think I might remove this one. It's pretty obvious that they are all in Italia, that they are all Christian, and I'm gonna then mark this Christian. And by the way, just although this is controlled, Thuringia is controlled by the Empire, it's pagan. That's kind of interesting here. That's why I marked that one. Okay, now Saxony is Christian. And that makes now a vassalage attempt also more likely. It gives a +1 modifier. So that is a threat for the tribal player. Saxony is pretty strong. They have a pretty big force. I think overall 5 units or something. So there is some danger here. But I mean, in the end, The only thing you can do is spending these counter vassalage markers. There is not a lot else you can do against a vassalage attempt. Maybe trying to, to bring this back to pagan. That could be another option. But for that you need a conversion marker, which the tribal player does not have. Okay, so that was the first action of the, and we could kind of rotate these guys, just to keep in mind that they already moved. That was the first action of the Empire player. And now my goal is, for now, I think I don't want to do a lot of attacks or something, because the tribal forces are mostly sitting in castles. So it doesn't make a ton of sense right now, because I don't have a real big army at the moment. The only kind of interesting army would be that one of Charlemagne. But to be honest, I want to leave a few units in Aachen to protect that civilization marker against a possible attack from the Saxons. As I already said, they have a nice force there. And apart from that, I want to build a strong cavalry force with the Charlemagne leader. And to do that, because you're not allowed to pick up units, you kind of have to, kind of come together in a single hex from different forces, and then we can unite there, and in the next turn we have a good cavalry army which might help us then, for example, to hunt down here the Slavonics, and also because then they cannot escape. Right now we would try to attack them with our infantry units. They can simply run away. But if we have a pure cavalry, they cannot escape. The same applies to, for example, here, this raider horde of the Empire of Cordoba. So I guess this turn it's mainly protection and kind of regrouping, and then in the next turn I'm gonna start my offensives. So yeah, I did as I said. I kind of strengthened my positions here in the south, Gascony, Septimia, against a possible threat from the Spanish guys here, or from Cordoba, and also these guys. I have now a nice little force here with, let me see, that is Charlemagne, and we have here 3 cavalry, and I think with Charlemagne we can actually triple their strength. So that is pretty amazing. But this is overstacked now. We have here, well, what we can kind of, if we bring this guy for example here, then we have only 1 unit over the stacking limit. Yeah, but that is a field army, so we have to pay their $4 for the provision of the, no, that's not true, $3 for the provision of the army. That's expensive. Here we are everywhere good, but down here we also have a pretty big force, but we could also throw these guys out of the castle, and then we're good here. And by the way, that's an advantage that the Empire has over the tribal player. They can combine their forces of the different areas. The tribal player is not allowed to do that. But it is kind of assumed that there is this big connection between the different states of the Frankish Empire so that they can kind of work together, and that allows them then to combine their forces. Now I also came up with a neat army here. That means we also have to pay for these guys $3. And I think that's it. So overall we have to pay now. Let's see, we had once, and that was that fine? Yeah, that was okay here. You don't have to pay for the leader, obviously. So I think I have to pay twice now, 3, if I'm not mistaken. Or not, maybe not. Let me see. No, maybe even only once. Yeah, I think wait a minute. Yeah, I think I only have to pay for these guys in Aachen here. Okay, so that's not too bad. Yeah, I gotta pay $3 there. Okay, so we're through the sequence of play of the Empire player, and that means we come now to turn 2, 776 to 780. And we start again with the tribal player. Roll 2 dice for the event. The first one is the black one. Now that is a 53, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be an event again. A revolution again, or rebellion. And yeah, that kind of sucks for the tribal player, because now there's a good chance that he will lose again these valuable areas, the Emirate of Cordoba, Asturias, and Navarre. So we got to roll, and on a 1 to 3 there is again a revolt. So luckily for the guy, for the tribal player, there is no revolt in the Empire of Cordoba. Wait a minute. Okay, yeah, I think we're good here. Then we go for Asturias. And yeah, there is actually a revolt. And that means if the region is controlled by the Empire or tribal player, it becomes neutral. So that's what happens. This goes simply away again. And then we got to roll for Navarre. And that is also a success. But I think that was actually not controlled by the tribal player. At least there was no marker on there. So I think that because that was a success, that was a 1, now that is controlled by the tribal player, Navarre. I think that's, yeah, I think that's what should happen here. Okay, cool. So not too much changed, but that might even be a little bit of an advantage, because now we control that pass of Roncavelles and the castle of Pamplona. The stratagem phase for the tribal player, and we have another vassalage marker, which is kind of cool. And the second one for Valencia, that's a military advance. Now I'm actually considering doing a vassalage operation against Lombardy again. So let's go for that. I'm going to throw in these 2 markers, because it would be just great to get that back. It's such a powerful area. Let's see. I think there are no specific modifiers. And there is no positive modifier for the Christian thing. So it's also hard to keep. That's the problem with this Lombardy action, or Lombardy area. But this force is just too tempting to maybe use against Marseille, for example, or something. That would be just great. Okay, so let's see. We have a 2 here. And the other guy has nothing he can throw in. So, and yeah, nobody has control over the castles there at the moment. Okay, so there is no additional modifiers. So let's see, we roll a die. And that is a 6. That's pretty awesome, because that says now we are successful. The player gains control of the region. That's basically it. Pretty cool. So there we go. Lombardy goes back to the tribal player, and that means he also gains now control over this pretty impressive army. And again, the Charlemagne has one more problem. Now we get actually quite a bit of money. We can start here. That's 1, 2 for Saxony. 3, 4, 5, 6 with Lombardy. 7. 8, 9, 10, 11, plus 3 for the control of the Cordoba Emirate. So we get 14. That is a lot. That is really a lot of stuff. So we are now through the Levi and also the treasury phase. Well, actually, I might consider buying maybe 1 or 2 stratagem markers for the tribal player. That could be an interesting option. I think I'm going to invest in 1 marker. Yeah, let's do 1 marker. Obviously a leader would be fantastic, but let's see what we get. Now this is another vassalage marker. That's not a bad thing, definitely not. Also for protection, and every vassalage marker that I have is not in the possession of the empire, so that is definitely cool. Now what I did is I hired here a field army and I levied a nomad horde. So that means I have now a really impressive cavalry force in Zaragoza, and I'm going to use these guys to do some havoc. I mean, these units, these cities here are all pretty well protected. But for example, Bordeaux, that's also in a good shape. Maybe I can make it here to Poitiers. That could be an option. That is not too strong. And maybe I could actually move to Neustria, I don't know, maybe even to Paris, you know, destroy the civilization marker here. That would be pretty awesome. So let's see. I mean, we have here command points of 18. So I'm going to roll. Okay, that's 20. That's not bad. So let's see where that brings me. I mean, so if I want to cross that pass here, but then I end up in the zone of control of these guys, and yeah. Okay, it seems I have to cross the mountains here, because otherwise I have to stop because of their zone of control of Bayonne or Bayonne. So let's see, we got 1, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, I don't want to face Charlemagne. 9, 10. Okay, that brings me here. Well, I won't make it to Paris, at least not with an attack or stuff. But I could move to Poitiers, for example. Maybe that's kind of fun. Kill a few guys there. 11, 12. Okay, so we are down to 8. And now let's see. The battle costs me 3, if I'm not mistaken. Shit. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was like that, but here are operation points. Battle costs me 3, exactly. So that brings me then to 5. And let's see what we have here. Well, these guys have strength of 4, and this is doubled. But they have 2 of these military advance things. I mean, let's say on a 1 to 3 they're going to use that. I mean, what is the attacker strength? Let's see here. That's pretty impressive. So they have a... That's an 8. Oh, fuck. 18. Hard to tell. Now we could triple this to 12. Well, maybe it's worth it. On a 1 to 3, I'm gonna play that marker. No, I'm not gonna play it. I'm gonna keep it for a bigger battle. So the tribal player could play it, but I think he also doesn't want to. So let's see. Maybe I only want to play it on a 1 or 2, I guess. So no, I keep that too. And that means that we see now a battle. We have these guys. That is 8, that's 12, that's 18 versus a strength of 8. So that is basically a 2-to-1 odds. Okay, so we are here. Let's roll a die. That's a 5. That's pretty good for the attacker. DZ. Defender annihilated. All defending units are gone. And the attacker gets 2 stratagems from the pool. Okay, they are from Aquitania. Okay, and then I'm gonna spend another operation point to enter here. And I think actually I want to try to hold this as a defensive area, because I'm pretty sure I have to fight against Charlemagne during the next turn, and that will raise my odds a little bit. Now I'm allowed to draw 2 stratagem markers, which is pretty awesome. And way fantastic, that's a leader. Now that is great, because I'm gonna throw this guy here, and that will make it much harder now for Charlemagne to bring me down. And then I'm gonna draw a second one, and this is an espionage marker. And Yeah, okay, that can be useful. Okay, now let's see, it's time to activate some other stacks, I guess. Okay, so we have these guys here in Genoa now. Let's see where we want to go. Maybe against Marseille. That is kind of tempting. Okay, let's check for the movement points first. Okay, that's 3. I can double that because of the leader, so that gives me a 6. And my slowest unit here, they are all 12. So that means I have 18 operation points. So my main question is now, do I want to move west or do I want to move north? I mean, here in the north, these guys are also causing some trouble. But they are not very strong, the Slavonics here. They can only attack basically the weak areas. So it would be an option to move, let's say, against Zurich or Strasbourg. I mean, I could move against Lyon, but this is pretty strong, and I'm not sure if I really want to do that. Marseille is weak, but then there's not much left to take there. The others are all pretty heavily guarded. So I'm kind of tempted to move north, even though that will cause me... I mean, I got 18 points, right? So that's 1, 2, 3, and that will cost me 8 points. So that would be 11 then. That's still, maybe it's worth it. So that's 11, and then I'm going to attack, which brings me to 14. So I've got 4 points left, and I think I wanna try that here. So we have now, okay, there are 8 in the castle. That makes it 16 then, but I have 12 and 18. Yeah, I got 5 times 6, so that's 30, and I can double that. Holy shit, that's a lot. That's 60. So yeah, that's 60 versus 16. Is that really 5 times 6? Is that... Yeah, that's... Holy shit, that's impressive, man. Maybe I should have moved here. I guess I could have easily done that, actually. Maybe that's a better idea. Huh, hard to tell. No, I'm gonna remain here. I'm gonna attack Zurich. Why not? So it's 60 versus 16. That shouldn't be too hard, I guess. That's a... Is that a 4-1? Yeah, it still is. No, it isn't, actually. 60 versus 15 would be a 4-1. And let me see, there are rules for that. I think, I'm not absolutely sure. I think the attacker has to round down. There we go. If the attacker's strength is greater than the defender's, any fractions are dropped, and this is the ratio used to determine which odds. Okay, yeah. So I think that basically, yeah, that we only have a 3-1, but that's pretty good. And as long as we don't roll a 1, we should be okay. So the question is if this guy wants to throw in a military advance. I mean, he could do it. It would bring him then... What would that do, actually? The military advance doubles the strength of all units in one friendly force. So then there would be... Yeah, 8, 16, that would be 32 then. Well, that would bring it onto that table. Could be worth it. Hard to tell. On a 1 to... Yeah. I think on a 1 to 3 I'm going to play that. No, I'm not going to play that one. So we're going to go through this, and we are rolling on the 3 to 1 table. That's a 5. Well, it wouldn't have made a difference anyway. Okay, that's pretty bad for the defender, because that means that they are all extinct. Charlemagne. And it also means that the attacker can draw 2 of these cool stratagem markers. Yeah. And these things are pretty valuable. And we have another leader. And this is becoming a real nightmare now for Charlemagne. And actually I'm thinking I'm going to place that leader here with these guys from Saxony. So now we have really threats from 3 sides. Cordoba, these 2 forces here, which are rampaging in Alemannia, and now another force in Saxony. I mean, we still have to build that up, but this is definitely a threat. And the second one is... Wow, that's another leader. Holy shit. And that's also bad for the empire, because, well, if all the leaders are gone, obviously there's not much left then. Well, I think I'm gonna place that leader now with these Slavonic troops here. Holy shit, that's really, really nasty. It really is. Okay, now we are sitting here. We could attack Strasbourg, but then we cannot retreat into a castle, because we don't have that last movement point then left. So I'm going to move into Zurich. Try to find, well, some kind of shelter there. And I also don't have to pay that much provisioning then. Okay, so that was that army. And then we got to start with these guys, or continue with these guys. And yeah, I mean, they have now a leader, which makes them also pretty powerful. So... 4, yeah, I mean, maybe... I might consider attacking Strasbourg. First, let's see what we roll. Okay, that's a 2. The leader makes it a 4. And these guys have 18. That's insane. So that gives them 22 points. I think what I want to do is, I want to move with these guys north. Here, Frankfurt and Fulda and these areas, and simply pillaging the crap out of these guys. So let's see that we can do that. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then we do the attack. So that brings us to 17. Doing the attack costs us 3 more. And let's see, is there a modifier if we... No, there is no modifier for attacking across a river. So that means these guys have a strength of 4. I have a strength of, well, that's 8, and I can double that. So I got a strength of 16. So that brings me on the 4-to-1 table. There we go. And again, we could consider throwing in a military advance, but I think nobody wants to do that at that point. It's just too clear. That is a 3. That's a DD. Defender defeated. So at least 1/2 of the defending strength points go away. And the attacker picks 1 stratagem marker from the pool. Okay, so that means these guys go completely away. Oh, yeah, and 1 stratagem marker. And that is, holy shit, that's another leader. Actually, I don't need all these leaders. And the bad thing is you cannot keep them. You have to place them on the board right away. So I'm really not sure what I want to do with these guys, actually. Shit. Where to place them? It's hard. It's a tough decision. What are these guys? Yeah, I get it. Huh. Hard to tell. Really hard to tell. I mean, I might place them here. Yeah, I think I'm gonna place this guy here. That's okay. Now that doesn't make me strong enough to do an attack. Probably not. Yeah. On the other hand, I'm not sure if I want to do that, because this is a Christian leader. They are not very reliable. So maybe this is actually not the best idea. Huh. It's hard to tell. I really don't have too many options here. You know what? I think I'm simply going to place that guy here with my Vikings. And hey, I mean, if he dies, who cares? I have that many. It doesn't really matter, right? So I think I will continue now moving here. So that costs me two bucks. And then I can do a pillage action here. Which costs me also 2. Yeah, okay. So that means we're at 10. And let's see what we can do. Pillaging. So basically we got to simply roll now here. My total combat strength is 16, right? So that is on the rightmost table. That's a 5. Okay, that's P and R. So we have a pillaged marker there now. It was successful. Frankfurt is pillaged. And wait a minute. Here we get a treasury point. That's also useful. But the other player can actually grab a stratagem marker from the pool. That kind of sucks, but on the other hand, I think it's worth it. It costs him victory points, it costs him treasury, and so that is the Spear of Longinus. That's interesting. We're gonna find out what that means in a minute. Well, oops, shit. Oh, damn it. There we are. That spear is basically a reroll. So you can simply spend that token to do a reroll. And okay, let's see. I think, well, how many points are left? Well, still, we still got 10 points left. So we might move to Fulda and continue doing some trouble there. So we move 1 space, pay 3. So that brings us to 6 then. That's the attack, and it's a, well, Fulda is actually a little stronger. We have 16 versus 12, so that's not quite that simple. Actually, is that a 101? Well, that's kind of risky, isn't it? $16. Or is it a 1.5? I don't think that's the case. Maybe I want to go. Maybe I should reconsider that. It sounds a little risky, actually. Okay, well, what other options do I have? Well, if I move in here, it's a little tricky because then this big army might be able to activate. I mean, I can retreat with these guys. But there are rivers and some zones of control here, so I could not retreat forever, I guess. On the other hand, I mean, well, actually, I think I can. These are not enemy zone but I cannot retreat across a river, yeah, so... who cares, you know, I'm here for fighting, so I think I want to try it. So yeah, I'm gonna give this a shot. There are not more Slavonic units anyway, and if they should die or something, hey, I mean, during the next Levi phase, I might be able to simply bring them back, and I just start from the east again. So yeah, let's kick that off. We have, it's a 1-on-1. So yeah, let's simply roll a die here. That wasn't too good. That's an AA. Okay, attacker defeated. So 1/2 of the strength point goes away, and I gotta retreat 2 hexes. And the defender may pick a stratagem marker. Okay, that's not so great. Shit. Okay, so I lose one of my guys, the Slavonics. There they are. Well, actually, during the Levi phase, they should have gotten this guy here in the box. I'm pretty sure about that. And I also forgot giving the Norris their units. So I think I want to give them these guys here. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that wasn't too great. So I got to retreat now 2 spaces. So I think I want to move here. So I could continue moving with these guys and also continue attacking. I wonder. Now here's the thing, if I retreat from, I did an attack here, right? Now if I would retreat, let's say here, can I make it to my peripheral area? Because if I could build a new force there in the next turn, but I have 6 spaces left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, No, I cannot make it. I have to cross here. I think I have to actually, yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I have to pay 5 movement points to move from the map into a peripheral area. So I cannot do it. That's for sure. The other way around, it's only 1 movement point, but I'm pretty sure it's 5 movement points this way. Still, we still got our infantry of the Slavonics, and I'm going to activate these guys now. So we're going to roll a die and see how far they can move. That's 15 points. And I want to launch them here into Bohemia. So it's 1, 2, 3, and start an attack against Prague. So we're at 12 for moving and 3 for the attack, so that brings us down to 9. Well, on the other hand, should I really do that? It's hard to tell, because if I do it, Bohemia becomes controlled by the Empire player. So maybe actually I don't really want to do that. Yeah, I think it's actually a bad idea to do that. No, I don't want to do that. Can I move in here? What about these guys? Well, they are also not that super strong. I mean, I could just burn these guys, basically. Hard to tell. Okay, let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. I mean, I could combine. Shit. Hard to tell. That's 8. That's 16, and I only have a 12. That's not really worth it. Yeah, I simply decided to move my troops here, and well, maybe I should unite them with the other guys then. Yeah, why not? Might be fun. Okay, let's do that. And they still, I mean, I could not. I had more movement points with them. Usually I should have finished their move, but before I started the others' move, but I had more movement points, so I simply can move there, basically. That's not a big deal. It's just a matter of planning. Okay, now I'm considering, I mean, this is a pretty large force now, right? So what about Frankfurt? That's not looking good for Frankfurt. I think I want to move these guys down there. 1, 5. Well, first I got to roll. That's 4 movement points. I can double that to 8. We got 12, so we got 20 movement points with these guys. Okay, so that is now an attack here, I guess. So we're gonna pay 3. We're gonna move 1, 2. The attack is 3 more. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3. That's 18. We can double that. That's 36. And this guy has exactly 16. So that means we are on the 2-to-1 table. And that is good, because that kills off these poor guys completely in Erfurt. They're simply gone. And that is pretty powerful, because that means now I basically control, if I move in there, I simply control this this space. and I control then every space there in Thuringia, and these guys are pagan, so I have a good chance of vassallaging them. Okay, that is... well, where are they? Right there. Now, let's see, I think I'll remain here for now. And that gives me also 2 stratagems. Now look at that, I ended up with another leader. This is getting crazy. I might place that guy here. I really don't know what to do with all these leaders. But yeah, I mean... why not? I think I want to place him here. That gives me a better position against a possible attack from Austrasia. And I think I want to move to Bremen with these guys. Maybe leave one in here. Move to Bremen. Yeah, that's basically it. Try to hold the castles here in Saxony. Okay, so I think I'm pretty much done here now. No, actually, I can still move these Vikings here. I want to do that. Maybe I can make it to Tours. Yeah, why not? So that's 1. And that is then... well, first we got to roll a die, of course. Wow, that's a 6. We can double that. So that brings me then to 24. Okay. So that is 3. Moving there and attacking brings me down to 18. Okay, now let's see. Well, they have a defense value of 4. And I have a defense value now of 12. Holy shit. So that is an attack value of 12. So that's a 3-1. The question is, do they want to throw in a marker? Hard to tell. They could, but that would only bring it to a 2-1. I'm not sure if that's worth it. On a 1 or 2 I might do it. No, I don't. Okay, so we roll on the 3-1 table. Holy shit, that's a 1. That's a bloodbath. So that means the side with fewer printed strength points is eliminated. The other side must eliminate a number of strength points at least equal to the enemy's printed strength. And that means I think we are both killed completely. So these guys go away. I wonder what happens to the leader, but I think he goes back into the cup. Well, actually, it's kind of interesting. I forgot this combat strength of the leaders. They have a combat strength of 1. So I don't know if that would have changed things until now, but I don't really think so. Maybe in one battle or something it might have changed things. Anyway, we have a bloodbath here. Now the thing is, the leader is not eliminated. Only if he gets really killed, but we eliminated the unit, so the leader is still fine, and he actually can continue moving. He still has a few points left. However, I'm not absolutely positive. Well, I had to. I had no other choice, so I don't know what I want to do. I mean, I might go to Nantes, try to hold this space and maybe get a buck out of it. Why not? And maybe I can unify him with some of my Vikings that I can still move. And yes, actually we can do that. We can bring our Vikings from here to Nantes, and then I don't see any reason why we should not be able to make a unification here, because that leader has no tribal name on him, so I think I can use him with any tribe basically. Okay, so I guess, and these guys already moved, I'm pretty sure I'm done for this movement. I did a lot of things as the tribal player, and I'm pretty sure I'm now at the end of my operations phase. So what we gotta check now is, wait a minute, I think I should get $1 for the pillaging of Frankfurt. Yeah. So what I want to check now is if I have to pay for provisioning somewhere. I think these guys are good. This could be an issue. 1, 2, 3. No, that's fine. The leader doesn't count. Okay. What about this? 1, 2, 3. Yes, there I have to pay. I'm gonna have to pay for a warrior array, and I think that costs me $3. And that's a little painful, but shit. Treasury, there we go. Warrior array, oh, it's only $2. Okay, cool. And what else? What about these guys? That's gonna be expensive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have to pay 4 additional, because 3 is the basic value of a castle. Oh, fuck. And so we gotta pay 4 more, so it's $6 overall. This is fine here. Yeah, great. Man, I'm so clumsy. And what about these? Now let's see. I mean, they have 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe the nomad hordes are not that expensive. I gotta pay 1 here. Yeah, that costs me also 2. So I'm at 8, if I'm not mistaken here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have to pay 8. And all the others should be fine. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So that brings me down to 5. And I think we can say that it looks pretty good for the tribal player at the moment. Charlemagne is in a lot of trouble. He has no leaders, which is a big deal, only himself. He has just 1 good army. No, actually that's not quite true. I mean, here in the south he's in a pretty good shape, and he has maybe a few armies there also, so that's not terribly bad. But without a leader, these armies are not that terribly powerful. And yeah, he has to face a lot of threats, right? I mean, we have here in Aquitania the cavalry. We have in Alemannia the troops from Lombardy. We have here the Slavonics, and we have here Thuringia is actually possibly vassalaged during the next turn. So there are a lot of threats there, but it's still a long game. I have not the time to play this turn to a complete end now, so we're gonna again end kind of in the middle of the turn. And to mark that, I want to I'm going to place that here so that I remember there's still the Empire player doing his actions. Okay, well, I'm enjoying this game actually quite a bit. So hope to see you on the next video or on lonesomegamer.com. Bye.